The sun had dipped below the horizon, leaving a canvas of deep blues and purples painted across the sky. It was one of those evenings that felt like a scene from a movie, where everything seemed perfect. The air was crisp yet warm, carrying the scent of pine and damp earth. We had set up our tent near a tranquil lake, its surface reflecting the shimmering stars above. I remember feeling a sense of peace wash over me as I sat by the campfire, the crackling flames casting flickering shadows on our faces. My wife, Sarah, smiled at me, her laughter mingling with the sounds of nature, a chorus of crickets and the occasional rustle of leaves. Camping had always been our escape, a chance to disconnect from the chaos of life and reconnect with each other. We had planned this trip for weeks, excited to leave our busy lives behind. It felt like a celebration of our marriage, a reaffirmation of our love. As we roasted marshmallows and shared stories, I felt a warmth in my chest, a certainty that this was where I belonged. As the night deepened, we crawled into our tent, the fabric enveloping us in a cocoon of warmth. I lay on my side, facing Sarah, watching her drift off to sleep. The gentle rise and fall of her chest brought me comfort, and I closed my eyes, surrendering to the lullaby of the night. But then I woke up. The tent was dark. The only sound was the faint rustling of the wind outside. I reached out instinctively, wanting to feel the warmth of my wife beside me, but the space next to me was cold and empty. Confusion washed over me. I blinked into the darkness, trying to shake off the remnants of sleep. I listened intently, but all I could hear was the soft whisper of the wind and the distant call of an owl. "Sarah," I called out, my voice barely above a whisper. No response. My heart began to race. I sat up, the fabric of the tent crinkling as I moved. The absence of her presence sent a chill down my spine. I unzipped the tent, the sound echoing in the stillness, and stepped outside. The cool night air hit me like a splash of cold water, awakening my senses. As I stepped out, the moonlight illuminated the campsite, casting long shadows across the ground. I scanned the area, my eyes darting from the flickering campfire to the surrounding trees. It was eerily quiet, and an unsettling knot twisted in my stomach. I called her name again, louder this time, but there was still no answer. Then I heard laughter. It was a sound that pierced through the stillness, a sound I recognized, but in that moment it felt foreign. I followed the sound, my heart pounding in my chest. The laughter was coming from behind a cluster of trees just a few yards away from our tent. I approached cautiously, my hands trembling as I pushed aside branches that obscured my view. What I saw next shattered my world. There she was, my wife, entwined with another man, laughter mingling with the night air. A sound that once brought me joy now twisted into a dagger of betrayal. They were so close, their bodies pressed against each other, lost in a moment that was meant to be ours. I stood frozen, my heart racing, my mind struggling to comprehend the scene unfolding before me. Time seemed to stand still as I absorbed the reality of the situation. The warmth of our earlier moments together felt like a distant memory, replaced by a cold, suffocating despair. I could feel the ground beneath me shift, the world tilting on its axis. I wanted to scream, to shout, to demand answers, but all I could do was stand there, paralyzed by shock. As I finally found my voice, it came out as a hoarse whisper. "Sarah." The laughter stopped abruptly, and they turned to face me. Her eyes widened in horror, and the man's expression shifted from surprise to something that resembled guilt. In that moment, everything I had believed in crumbled around me. The silence that followed my whisper felt oppressive, like the weight of 1,000 unspoken words pressing down on me. My heart pounded in my ears, drowning out the night sounds that had once been comforting. Sarah's face was a mixture of shock and fear, her mouth opening and closing as if searching for the right words. The man beside her, tall and athletic, looked like a stranger, his presence a stark contrast to the warmth I had always associated with my wife. "Jake," Sarah began, her voice trembling, but I couldn't bear to hear her excuses, her explanations. I felt a surge of anger rise within me, a heat that coursed through my veins. I took a step forward, my fists clenched at my sides, the reality of her betrayal igniting a fire I had never known existed. "Don't," I interrupted, my voice low and steady, but the rage simmering beneath the surface was palpable. Don't you dare try to explain this. What are you doing? The words came out sharper than I intended, laced with disbelief and hurt. The man shifted uncomfortably, glancing between us as if he were caught in a storm he never wanted to be part of. I could see the shame etched on his face, but it didn't matter. He was the intruder in my life, the one who had crossed a line that should never have been breached. I'm so sorry, Sarah finally managed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. I didn't mean for this to happen. Didn't mean for what to happen, Sarah. I shot back, my voice rising. Didn't mean to cheat on me. Didn't mean to betray our vows. Each word felt like a dagger, piercing through the facade of our perfect life together. I was lonely, she blurted out, her voice cracking. You've been distant, Jake. I thought we were losing each other. Lonely, the word echoed in my mind. I had noticed the subtle changes in our relationship, the late nights at work, the conversations that felt forced, the intimacy that had slowly faded. But I had believed we were working through it together. I had thought this trip was our chance to reconnect, to rekindle what we had lost. The realization that she had sought comfort in another man instead of coming to me felt like a knife twisting in my gut. Lonely, I repeated, incredulous. So you decide to sleep with another man. Is that how you handle loneliness? I felt the heat of betrayal coursing through me, fueling my anger. I didn't think it would go this far, she said, her voice barely a whisper. It was just supposed to be a fling, a distraction. A distraction. The word hit me like a physical blow. I staggered back, the weight of her confession crashing down on me. I had trusted her, loved her with everything I had, and she had thrown it all away for a fleeting moment of pleasure. Just a fling. I echoed, my voice rising again. Do you even hear yourself? This isn't just some casual affair, Sarah. This is our life you're talking about. The man shifted, clearly uncomfortable with the escalating confrontation. I shot him a glare, my anger directed at him as well. He was complicit in this betrayal, and I had half a mind to confront him directly. But I couldn't take my eyes off Sarah, the woman I had loved, the woman I thought I knew. I need you to leave, I said to the man, my voice steady but laced with fury. Now. He hesitated, glancing at Sarah, who looked torn between the two of us. I could see the conflict in her eyes, the realization of what she had done crashing down on her. Please just go, she finally said, her voice breaking. He nodded, backing away into the shadows, leaving us alone in the haunting silence of the night. The moment he disappeared, I felt a wave of emptiness wash over me. It was just the two of us now, but the connection we once shared felt irrevocably shattered. Jake, Sarah started again, but I held up a hand to silence her. I couldn't bear to hear any more of her explanations or justifications. Just stop, I said, my voice strained. I don't want to hear it. I can't believe you did this. I thought we were better than this. Her face crumpled and tears began to stream down her cheeks. I felt a pang of sympathy for her, but it was quickly overshadowed by the hurt and betrayal that consumed me. I'm so sorry, she repeated, her voice breaking. I never wanted to hurt you. Yet here we are, I said, my voice heavy with bitterness. You've shattered everything we built together. As the reality of the situation sank in, I felt a dark cloud of despair settle over me. The implications of what had just happened were too vast to comprehend. I was standing in front of the woman I had vowed to love and cherish, and yet, at that moment, she felt like a stranger. I turned away, needing space to breathe, to process the whirlwind of emotions swirling within me. I had to think. To figure out what this meant for us, if there was even an us left to salvage. I stepped back, my mind racing, trying to make sense of the chaos that had just unfolded. The cool night air brushed against my skin, but it did little to soothe the tumult raging inside me. I could still see Sarah's tear-streaked face, the way her lips quivered as she struggled to find the right words. But there were no right words, just the weight of betrayal hanging heavy between us, like a chasm that had suddenly opened beneath our feet. Jake, please, she said, her voice trembling. I need you to understand. Understand what? I snapped, cutting her off. That you chose to sleep with someone else instead of talking to me. That you thought a fling would solve our problems. Each word dripped with bitterness, and I could feel the anger coiling tighter within me. You could have come to me. We could have figured this out together. I know, she replied, her voice breaking. I was stupid, I was scared, I thought I was losing you and I didn't know how to fix it. The admission hung in the air, and for a moment I felt a flicker of sympathy for her. We had been drifting apart and I had noticed it too, but that didn't justify her actions. I had been willing to fight for us, she had chosen to betray me instead. Scared, I repeated, my voice low and incredulous. Scared enough to cheat on me. The hurt was palpable and I felt the sharp edge of betrayal cutting deeper. You didn't even think to talk to me about it. You just jumped into bed with another man. I messed up, Jake, she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't think it would mean anything. Didn't mean anything. I echoed, the disbelief twisting my gut. How could it not mean anything? You shared your body with him, Sarah. You shared something sacred, something that should have been ours. You don't just throw that away. I felt a surge of anger rise within me, the betrayal igniting a fire I didn't know how to extinguish. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to make her feel the pain she had caused me. But a part of me also wanted to understand, to dig deeper into her motivations, to unravel the tangled mess of our relationship. Tell me the truth, I demanded, my voice steady but firm. Was this just a one-time thing, or has this been going on for a while? Her eyes widened and I saw the panic flicker across her face. No, it was just tonight, she said quickly, almost too quickly. I swear, it was a mistake, a moment of weakness. I didn't plan for any of this. I wanted to believe her, but doubt gnawed at the edges of my mind. I had trusted her completely, and now I was left questioning everything. Moments of weakness don't happen in a vacuum, I said, my voice low and measured. You didn't just stumble into this. You made a choice. The silence stretched between us, heavy and suffocating. I could see the turmoil in her eyes, the regret and fear, but it didn't matter. The damage was done, and our once solid bond felt irreparably frayed. I don't know what to do now, I admitted, my voice breaking slightly. The truth was, I felt lost. I had always prided myself on being a rational person, someone who could navigate life's challenges with logic and reason. But this was different. This was personal, intimate, and it cut deeper than anything I had ever experienced. Please, Jake, she pleaded, stepping closer, her hands reaching out for me. I love you. I never wanted to hurt you. I want to make this right. I recoiled instinctively, the instinct to protect myself kicking in. You can't just take back what you've done. You can't erase this. I know, she whispered, her voice thick with tears, but I want to try, I want to fight for us. The sincerity in her eyes made my heart ache, but it was overshadowed by the betrayal that loomed large. How can I trust you again? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. How can I believe anything you say? I'll do whatever it takes, she said, her voice fierce now, a glimmer of determination shining through her tears. I'll go to counseling, I'll talk to you every day about how I'm feeling. I'll do anything to show you that I'm committed to us. I wanted to believe her. I wanted to hold on to the hope that we could salvage our relationship, that this moment wouldn't define us. But the fear of being hurt again loomed large, casting a shadow over my heart. I need time, I finally said, my voice heavy with resignation. I can't just forgive you right now. I need to process this. Take all the time you need, she replied, her voice softening. I'll be here when you're ready. I turned away from her, needing space to breathe, to think. The night felt colder now, and the stars above seemed to mock me with their indifference. I walked a few paces away, my heart racing, my mind a whirlwind of emotions. I felt broken, betrayed, and lost, and I didn't know how to find my way back. As I stood there, staring into the darkness, I realized this moment would change everything. I had to decide what I wanted moving forward, and the thought of confronting that reality was almost too much to bear. The night stretched on, and I could feel the weight of the stars pressing down on me, their distant light a stark contrast to the darkness swirling in my heart. I stood alone, my back to Sarah, grappling with the chaos of emotions that threatened to consume me. The cool breeze brushed against my skin, but I felt no comfort in its touch. Instead, it served as a reminder of how painfully alone I felt in that moment. I took a deep breath, trying to gather my thoughts, but the memories of our life together flooded my mind. Our wedding day, the laughter we shared, the dreams we had built together. Each recollection was now tainted by the betrayal that had shattered my trust. I felt a familiar ache in my chest, a longing for the love we once had, but it was overshadowed by anger and disbelief. Sarah's soft voice broke through my thoughts, pulling me back to the present. "Jake, please, I'm so sorry. I never meant to hurt you. I'll do anything to make this right." I turned to face her, and the sight of her tear-streaked face twisted my heart. She looked vulnerable, lost, and I couldn't help but feel a flicker of sympathy. But that sympathy was quickly drowned out by the resentment that simmered just beneath the surface. "What do you want me to say, Sarah?" I asked, my voice low and strained. "What can I possibly say that will make this any better? You've broken my trust, and I don't know if I can ever get it back." "I know," she replied, her voice trembling. "But I love you, Jake. I want to fight for us. I want to prove that I can be the wife you deserve." The sincerity in her eyes was almost enough to sway me, but I couldn't shake the feeling of betrayal. "You say you love me, but love doesn't just turn off when things get tough. Love doesn't lead you to another man's arms." I was weak, she admitted, her voice breaking. "I was scared and lonely, and I made the worst mistake of my life. I thought I was losing you, and I didn't know how to fix it. I should have come to you instead of running away." The rawness of her confession struck a chord within me, but I couldn't let it cloud my judgment. "You should have talked to me," I said, my voice firm. "We could have worked through our issues together. Instead, you chose to betray me. You chose to share something intimate with someone else." "I know," she said, her eyes glistening with tears, "and I regret it every second of every day. I don't want to lose you, Jake. Please don't give up on us." There was desperation in her voice, a plea I could feel deep in my bones, but I also felt the walls I had built around my heart start to tremble. "What do you want me to do?" I asked, my voice softer now, tinged with uncertainty. "Do you expect me to just forgive and forget, to pretend like this never happened?" "No, I don't expect that," she said earnestly. "But I want to try. I want to rebuild what we had. I'll do anything, Jake. I'll go to couples counseling. I'll be open and honest with you about everything. I'll show you that I can be the partner you deserve." The thought of counseling made my stomach churn. It felt like an admission that our relationship was broken beyond repair, that we needed outside help to fix what had been so sacred to us, but a part of me clung to the possibility that maybe, just maybe, we could work through this together. "I don't know if I can trust you," I admitted, my voice barely above a whisper. "I don't know if I can ever look at you the same way again." "I understand," she replied, taking a step closer. "But I'm willing to fight for us even if it takes time. I'll do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. Just please don't walk away from me." I felt the tension in the air, the unspoken words hanging heavily between us. I wanted to scream, to lash out, to make her feel the pain I was experiencing. But I also wanted to understand, to find a way to reconcile the love I still felt for her with the hurt she had caused. "I need to think," I finally said, my voice strained. "I can't make any decisions right now. Everything feels too raw." "Take all the time you need," she responded softly, her eyes searching mine. "I'll be here waiting." "I love you, Jake." With that, she stepped back, giving me the space I so desperately needed. I watched her retreat into the shadows, the moonlight casting a soft glow on her figure until she vanished from view. The emptiness of the campsite surrounded me, and I felt the weight of my choices pressing down on my shoulders. I walked back to the tent, the familiar fabric feeling foreign under my fingers. I sat down on the ground outside, staring into the darkness, my mind racing with thoughts and emotions. I felt lost, unsure of how to navigate the path ahead. As I sat there, I couldn't help but replay the moment of betrayal in my mind. The sight of Sarah with another man, their laughter echoing in my ears, the warmth of our love replaced by a cold, harsh reality. I felt anger bubbling up inside me again, a need for revenge, a desire to make her feel the pain I was experiencing. But revenge wouldn't heal the wounds. It wouldn't bring back the trust that had been shattered. I knew that deep down I still loved her, despite everything she had done. The question was, could we rebuild what had been broken, or was it too late? As dawn began to break, casting a soft glow over the campsite, I realized I had a decision to make. I had to confront the reality of our situation, to decide whether I would fight for our marriage or walk away from the life we had built together. The thought filled me with dread, but I knew I couldn't avoid it any longer. The dawn crept in slowly, its light breaking through the trees and illuminating the campsite with a soft, golden hue. I sat outside the tent, feeling the chill of the morning air seep into my bones, but I was too lost in thought to feel cold. My mind was a battlefield, torn between love and betrayal, hope and despair. I knew I had to make a decision, but the weight of that choice felt unbearable. The sounds of nature began to awaken around me, the chirping of birds, the rustling of leaves, and the gentle lapping of the lake against the shore. It was a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. I had always found solace in the outdoors, but now everything felt tainted. The beauty of the morning felt like a cruel reminder of the shattered trust between Sarah and me. As I sat there, I couldn't shake the image of her with another man. The laughter, the intimacy, it was all so vivid, so raw. I had always prided myself on being a good husband, someone who was present and engaged. But had I missed the signs? Had I been so wrapped up in my own world that I hadn't noticed her slipping away? I thought back to our conversations over the past few months, the moments where we had both seemed distant. I had attributed it to the stresses of life, work, bills, responsibilities. But now I wondered if I had been blind to her feelings, to the loneliness she had experienced. The realization was a bitter pill to swallow, and it left me grappling with a mix of guilt and anger. Jake. Sarah's voice broke through my thoughts, and I turned to see her standing at the entrance of the tent, her face pale and drawn. The sight of her sent a wave of conflicting emotions crashing over me. I wanted to reach out to pull her close, but the betrayal still felt too fresh, too raw. "Hey," I replied, my voice flat. She took a tentative step closer, her eyes searching mine for any sign of forgiveness. "I just wanted to see if you were okay." "Okay?" I scoffed, the bitterness spilling over. "How could I possibly be okay after what happened last night?" "I know," she said, her voice trembling. "I'm so sorry, Jake. I wish I could take it all back. I never wanted to hurt you. I made a terrible mistake." The sincerity in her voice was evident, but it did little to quell the storm brewing inside me. "A mistake? You call that a mistake?" I asked, my voice rising. "You didn't just trip and fall. You made a conscious choice to betray me. You chose to be with someone else instead of coming to me." "I know," she said, her eyes filling with tears. "I was scared and I didn't know how to handle it. I thought I was losing you and I didn't know what to do. Instead of fighting for us, you ran away," I said, my voice heavy with disappointment. "You didn't even think about the consequences of your actions." I know," she repeated, her voice breaking. "And I regret it every day. I realize now how stupid I was. I want to make it right, Jake. I want to fight for us." Her desperation tugged at my heart, but I felt that familiar wall rising up inside me, a protective barrier against the pain. "But can we really come back from this?" I asked, my voice softening slightly. "Can we rebuild what you've destroyed?" "I believe we can," she said, her voice firm. "I'm willing to do whatever it takes to earn your trust back. I love you, Jake, and I want to make this work." I wanted to believe her. I wanted to hold on to the hope that we could repair the damage, that our love could withstand this trial. But the fear of being hurt again loomed large. I thought about the nights I would lie awake, wondering if she was being faithful, if she was truly committed to me. The thought was suffocating. "I need time," I said finally, my voice steady. "I can't just jump back into this. I need to figure out what I want. Take all the time you need," she replied, her voice softening. "I'll be here waiting for you no matter how long it takes." With that, I turned away from her, needing space to breathe, to think. I walked toward the edge of the lake, the water glistening in the morning light. I felt the coolness of the breeze on my skin, and I closed my eyes, trying to clear my mind. As I stood there, staring at the tranquil surface of the water, I realized that I had a choice to make. I could either walk away from our marriage, from the love we had shared, or I could fight for it despite the pain and betrayal. The thought of leaving felt like a loss I wasn't ready to face, but the thought of staying and constantly questioning her loyalty was equally terrifying. I took a deep breath, the fresh air filling my lungs, and I felt a flicker of determination spark within me. I didn't want to run away. I wanted to confront this head-on. But I also knew that rebuilding trust would take time, effort, and open communication. I had to be honest with myself about what I needed and what I was willing to accept. As I turned back toward the campsite, I saw Sarah standing there, waiting for me. The hope in her eyes was both comforting and terrifying. I knew I had to talk to her, to lay everything on the table, to explore the possibility of healing. "Let's talk," I said, my voice steady. "We need to figure this out together." Her face lit up with a mixture of relief and hope, and I felt a glimmer of warmth in my chest. Perhaps this was the first step toward rebuilding what had been broken. I didn't know what the future held, but I was willing to try. We settled down on a fallen log near the lake, the soft sounds of nature enveloping us in a fragile cocoon of intimacy. The sun climbed higher in the sky, casting its warm rays over us, and for a moment I felt a flicker of hope. But the weight of our conversation loomed heavily in the air, a reminder of the painful truth we had to confront. "Jake," Sarah began, her voice trembling, "I know I've hurt you in ways I can't even begin to comprehend. I want to be honest with you about everything. I don't want to hide anything anymore." I nodded, my heart racing as I braced myself for what was to come. "I need you to be completely open with me," I replied. "I want to understand what happened, why you felt the need to go outside our marriage." "I was feeling so alone," she confessed, her eyes welling with tears. "We had been drifting apart for so long, and I didn't know how to reach you. I thought if I could find comfort in someone else, it would fill the void, but it only made things worse." The raw honesty in her words struck me. I could see the regret etched on her face, the realization that her actions had consequences she hadn't fully grasped at the time. "But you didn't talk to me," I reminded her gently. "You didn't give me the chance to be there for you. You chose to run away instead." "I know," she said, her voice breaking, "and I regret it every single day. I thought I was protecting myself, but I only ended up hurting you. I've realized that I should have fought for us instead of giving in to my fears." I took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her confession settle over me. "I understand that you were scared, but trust is built on honesty and communication. We both have to be accountable for our roles in this." "I will do anything to earn your trust back," she said, her voice firm. "I'll be open about my feelings, about everything. I want to go to counseling together. I want us to work through this." The thought of counseling felt daunting, but I realized it might be a necessary step for us to heal. "I'm willing to try," I said, my voice steady, "but it's going to take time. I need to know that you're committed to this process, that you're willing to put in the effort." "I am," she replied, her eyes filled with determination. "I love you, Jake. I want to fight for our marriage. I want to prove to you that I can be the wife you deserve." As we sat there, I felt a mixture of hope and trepidation. The road ahead would be challenging, filled with moments of doubt and vulnerability, but I also knew that love could be a powerful force for healing. We had built a life together, and I wasn't ready to give up on it just yet. "Let's set some ground rules," I suggested, my voice firm. "We need to communicate openly, check in with each other regularly, and be honest about our feelings. If something is bothering us, we need to talk about it before it festers." "Absolutely," Sarah agreed, her expression earnest. "I want us to be able to be honest with each other, even if it's uncomfortable. I want to rebuild our foundation from the ground up." For the first time since the betrayal, I felt a glimmer of hope. Perhaps we could find our way back to each other, but it would take work, hard work. I realized that healing wouldn't happen overnight. It would be a gradual process, one step at a time. "I'm willing to give this a chance," I said, my voice steady. "But we both have to commit to it. No more secrets, no more running away." "I promise," she said, her voice filled with sincerity. "I won't let you down again." As we sat there, I felt the tension begin to ease, if only slightly. We had a long journey ahead of us, but I was willing to take that journey with her. I wanted to believe that we could emerge stronger from this experience, that we could rebuild our love on a foundation of trust and honesty. "Let's take it one day at a time," I suggested, feeling a sense of calm wash over me. "We'll figure it out together." Sarah smiled through her tears, and I could see the flicker of hope in her eyes. It was a small step, but it felt significant. We were both willing to fight for what we had lost, and that realization brought a sense of warmth to my heart. As we sat together, I knew that the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but I also felt a renewed sense of determination. I was ready to face the unknown, to confront the pain of our past, and to build a future that was rooted in love and trust. The sun continued to rise, casting its golden rays over the lake, and for the first time in a long while I felt a sense of peace. We had a long way to go, but we were in this together, and that made all the difference. As we left the campsite behind, I held onto the hope that we could navigate this journey, hand in hand, ready to forge a new path together. And maybe, just maybe, we could find our way back to each other after all.